to kick off the first workshop of Fried Month. The month is so fried. My headset is definitely fried. But let's keep having a pride. Because next up on stage, we'll have someone who wants to learn to feminize their voices. If you're interested to jump in place, show your hand. Okay. Well, you were right in the middle. And I feel like I see... Oh, well, I'm so sorry. Shio, I saw you first. Why don't you come up on stage? All right. I don't know what's happening with this avatar. Oh, you got this. Oh, wow.
My first time. Oh my god.
Okay. Hi. Hello. Everyone,
Hello
please
there.
give a big round of applause to Shio. Okay. Hi. Hello. Welcome. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah. Is my microphone okay?
It was okay. I think it's good. Let's get started. We got 7 minutes starting now. Okay. Hi, Shio. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. All right. Can you give me a very gentle whisper, like, hello?
Oh wait. I'm gonna turn my suppression off.
Yes, please. Hello. Okay. Very good. Awesome. Now let's try this. Okay, first of all, I want to know, Shio, is this the first time you're in one of those workshops, that you're in one of these, or just on stage, or?
Yes, yeah, it is. It is my first time.
Okay, very good. What do you know of voice? How comfortable are you with like the terminology we use, the theory behind it, and some of the exercises?
Well, I know pitch, resonance, open quotient, closed quotient. Yeah, and I also have another teacher that told me that I have to get to higher closure to reach my goal. I can't show you my goal right now because I don't have it, but yeah.
You could always forward it to me into like the voice training channel. Okay. So, talking about closed closure. Wow, that's complicated to say. Closed quotient, open quotient. This is terminology we don't really use because it's like a scientific measurement that doesn't really have its place in like vocal pedagogy. Some teachers use it. We don't really do that in the academy. We like to use more like perceptual sounds, such as like, a buzzy voice that will refer to like, more effective mass involved into the vocal process. Now, I don't know. You said that your teacher told you to get more closed quotient. Now, I don't know if it's like closed closure. I'm not sure exactly what term you used, but that can mean two things, right? That can mean either that they want you to like close the voice more, like close the vocal folds more. Like if you're breathy, achieve a less breathy voice. Or if your voice is too soft like this, then they might want you to get it to be a little bit thicker, fuller, like from really soft voice to a really soft voice, something that sounds a bit more full, right? Something that has like a little bit more texture for us to hear, or for others to hear when you do your voice, or for yourself. So, okay, let's see a little bit where you are at, because I hear that you already have done quite some work on your voice. I want to test your voice on some sentences. Has the slide loaded for you?
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Can you please give a try and read that first sentence for me?
Hello, good morning. How are you?
Sounds great. Hello, good morning. How are you? All right, sounds good. Try the next one.
I will have a cup of coffee, please.
Sounds great. Next sentence.
I forgot to take my hormones.
All right, good. Next one.
Are you really sure about that?
Absolutely. Next one.
I think I have a craving for pickles.
Okay, accent aside, that was really good. Craving. Try the next sentence.
I totally agree with that.
Okay, next one.
No, that can't be right.
But it is. And last one.
Blajang is my favorite shark.
Oh, wow, I've never heard it be said bludgeon before.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, it's okay. You're fine. Honestly, I got nothing to say about your voice. It sounds just fine. It's really bright. It's generally like high in pitch. You're very comfortable with your intonation. Yeah, I mean, like I didn't hear like any like noticeable like dip in your resonance, in how small the size or how big it was. It sounded all fine to me. I think there is hardly any work to do on your voice unless that is something that gets you closer to your goal voice. And that's where I suppose, I'm limited because here I'm on stage. I can't take a look at a video. I mean, I could, but that would be extra time. And we are kind of limited in this format we have here. So yeah.
It might be brainworms because every teacher told me that, and I don't know. I sometimes feel like I sound like, I don't know, like a 13 years old boy or a twink or something.
No, absolutely not. And also like not every 13-year-old boy, not every twink has that voice specifically. I don't know, like that feels like a really strange category of voice to describe. But no, I definitely do think that not brainworms, but like dysphoria can be very strong. How long have you been feminizing your voice for, Shio?
I dropped some months, like there's, I don't know, 3 months that I work, then I'm not, but so 2 years.
Okay, 2 years. Well, I don't know. I feel like when it comes to dysphoria with your own voice, you have to first practice it to get it to a point that you like. And then it's always going to be you versus what you expect of a femme voice to be like. I have worked with so many different people with so many different voices that to me, there's like no one set femme voice to reach, right? It depends really on what your cultural expectation is in your own head, by the way. We all have different cultural expectations of what a femme voice should sound like. Of course, most of them tend to be generally brighter voices, generally higher pitched voices, and generally softer voices, at least in our Occidental culture. I would dare assume that's most of us here. And so, yeah, really that's up to you to define what is a femme voice to you, you know? Because maybe your bar is much higher than that of mine or others. Maybe your bar of requisite is that to be like a voice actress or a singer, you know, and the level of control on voice is, you know, much higher than what anyone needs to just have a femme voice. So I would definitely say it's mostly brainworms. Again, like if you do, send me like your goal voice, maybe in Discord DMs or in the hashtag voice training channel on the Trans Academy Discord. I'd be more than happy to give you pointers as to how to approximate your current voice to that voice that you want to achieve. Okay?
Sure.
So what sounds?
Sure.
Yeah. So I think in your case, what you want to do is polishing. You want to make your voice feel like yours, or maybe it's dysphoria and you want to get as far as possible from your baseline voice. Maybe the voice you started with was like a masc voice like this that really wasn't that masculine to begin with.
Maybe it was a really dark, low voice like this one.
I don't mean to assume where you started at, but would you say that it was more like the first case or more like the second case?
I will say something in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle. But like even if like your pitch is low, like your resonance is not super low, like it's like in the middle. It's not like in the middle, you know?
So I definitely do feel like the proximity between your femme voice and your masc voice, your former voice rather, is like very short. For me, it's really big because
I like had a masc voice like that. And
I now have a femme voice like that. And for some time, I remember my dysphoria was so strong. I was only speaking like here. I was only like here. I was like, hi, everyone. My name's Savvy. That's who I am. I'm like at really high pitches. That's generally what I did until I felt more confident with lower pitches. And that's something I prefer. But, you know, it's for it's your own journey to make, Shio.
Okay.
All right. Hope that advice helps you out. You're very
Thanks
welcome.
so much.
Big round of applause to Shio. Okay, next up on stage, I want someone who wants to masculinize their voices.
She crashed again.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I know.
Oh
Will be.
no.
07.
Massive poopy.
Oh no.
Oh, with a non-binary B.
My PD.
There you go.
It's a binary.
Savvy crash again?
Yep.
Yeah, there we go. There
We
she
hate to see
goes.
it.
Wow.
More time for stretching.
vrchat fighting back today.
Don't forget to drink water.
So we really
Does
said
Pepsi count?
fight vrchat. Damn, vrchat has hands.
So, y'all come here often?
How
Savvy
late am
crash.
I, out of curiosity?
Me or
Me, how late am I?
How late are you?
Mm-hmm.
We started at like 2, and then there was a little break where it's semi-crossed. So I don't know, what time did you get here?
Like a few minutes ago.
why are so late?
Oh yeah, you're like
You showed up like halfway
40
through.
minutes late.
Sweet.
I just arrived as well. Like I thought it'll be like in 20 minutes, but an hour.
Yeah, I think we're
less
about to do like
time zone
our
difference.
second mask
Okay.
demonstrator.
Missy's not awake at this time, so I didn't really bother to even think about coming here. And then, oh wait, I'm early this morning. Might as well check it. Like,
Let's go.
before I go out dancing. Oh, that's something.
Yeah, it's something. I love Springtrap.
Hi, Springtrap.
I always come back.
I believe you.
What else? What's this?
Is that the model from Dead by Daylight?
Oh no, violence.
Yes, it's the model from Dead by Daylight.
She hits me.
Oh, is it
This model.
really?
Yeah.
How did they already
No,
get it? I
that's
thought he's not
true.
even out.
We don't have
It's a
domestic.
spoiler. I'm sorry.
Oh no, he's not on
It's alright. She
PTB.
has
True, I promise.
some good speed bags.
Yeah, you can like already get
Whoa.
the model. For some people, maybe they're using like a little bit of sweet.
Dude, Hazel, your voice
Yeah,
sounds awesome, by the
Show me a
way.
little.
Thank you. Like if you
I should
check like
turn you into a
the mouth,
frog.
like if you check the mouth opening, like there's a full model of like the muffin corpse inside, which is
Right.
like really interesting. Like it's fully rendered.
She's turning me.
It's pretty cool.
Hi.
Yeah,
What's that
very
on your
cool.
back?
Look.
Are those tattoos? They're tattoos. I thought it was like blood or something.
What even is 1B?
I really love the muffin. What else do you? I love like the one from Dead by Daylight.
It's an egg.
Yup.
What else?
She's an
Now
egg.
it's open for business.
That is a
Oh.
cool avatar.
Thank you.
Okay, no,
Hmm.
that's actually fire.
Yo.
It's like a drawing.
Avatar is still
And you disappear.
loading for me, so I'm like waiting.
That's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
Eat?
Understood.
Oh, I see.
Got it.
My avatar is off, so
Backup cowboy.
Yeah.
I don't
Just
know.
become a
I
phone.
don't know how to even find the optimized avatars.
What do you know? An avatar is like not
Face up, face.
computer.
It's the fish.
Oh, I loved your voice back there. It was really not. It was really good.
A little slime.
I said I really love your voice.
Thank you so much. The same.
Hi.
Well, thank
Me?
you.
Yeah. Wanna be?
People say I sound French when I speak
Be.
English
An
all the
NB.
time. I'm not French.
Binary.
Like, what the
Your
fuck?
avatar fire.
No, I don't think you sound French.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just saw the binary fish.
Shout
I
out
like
to
your
Deepak,
Everyone
by the way.
avatar is still loading for me.
so
Thank you.
Huh?
I was just saying
Nothing.
everyone avatar is still loading. It's an avatar one.
also you're moving at very low
Oh my
frame
god,
rate.
look at that. Oh.
Am I?
You have feet.
I can't. I want to see my recording.
What color?
Said you have feet.
Yeah.
Hey.
Let me see.
Full body
Oh
tracking.
yeah, it does.
It's weird. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's on
true.
purpose.
It's not bad.
Yeah, but
I
I suck
like
at
it.
dancing, so I didn't really do it a lot.
I suck at it too. All right, you gotta practice.
Like what?
Just go to the Just Dance world all day and you're good.
I actually used to do this for quite some time.
It's so much fun.
Yeah,
Even
but
today,
it
I'm
gets
going
so
to I'm going to a
gonna
dance class
search
today
it.
too.
yeah, but it gets so sweaty
Hi,
and sticky
Sadie.
after a while. And it's like, Okay, everyone. Hi. Sorry about this again. I think climate change will make these impossible in the future. Just kidding. I'll always be here. So, hi. Settle back down. It's alright. We'll go a bit over time. Is that okay with you, 1B? So that we can get to all the people and all the questions as we usually do? Very much appreciated. Thank you all for sticking around. This is technical difficulty after technical difficulty today. So, as I was saying before I turned to all of you and crashed, was, hey, who wants to get up on stage next to masculinize their voices? If you're interested, jump in place, raise your hand, or use the hand emoji. Vampire Muse, never been on stage, correct? All right, then come on. Give a big round of applause to Vampire Muse! Woo! All right. Hello, Vampire Muse. Hello, hello.
Oh.
Okay. All right, let's get started. We got 7 minutes starting from now. Okay, so hi, first time on stage, but is this the first time in one of these wonderful workshops?
I believe it's like my second or third time.
Okay, very good. So are you already familiar with terms such as bright, small size,
Big size, dark.
and all these terms? Okay, let's go over those really quickly. You want to masculinize your voice, correct? But testosterone has not been gifted or poisoned you. Depends on the point of view for some people. I think it's just testosterone. Testosterone has maybe not affected your voice to the same level as it has me. And so your vocal folds might still be vibrating at higher pitches because they're not longer due to testosterone. Your vocal folds might not be really thick and have a lot of vocal fold mass due to testosterone. And your Adam's apple, because beside, even if it's called the Adam's apple, everyone has it, regardless of being Adam or whatever or whatnot, or being AMAP or not. So the Adam's apple actually has a scientific name. We call it the larynx. And the little bump you feel on your neck, that is the prominence of that organ, of that larynx. And so it can be really high up, which will result into a much smaller vocal tract, or it can be a lot lower, which results into a darker, bigger vocal tract. And in your case, we'd want to drop the larynx to achieve a bigger space. So let's try this together. First of all, I want to check your mic settings. And to do this, just give you a very gentle, soft hello, like, hello.
I don't think that picked up. I might
Correct.
have to.
Let's go to the audio settings, and in them, you want to scroll down a bit. You're going to find the noise suppression. Please turn that off. And we're not done, because below that is the mic activation threshold. You want to put that all the way down to 0%.
Yes,
Okay.
it's
Awesome.
of my suppression. So, hello. Can you hear
Perfect.
this?
Yes, I can hear this. Perfect. Yes. Okay, so let's try this. I want to hear a slide from your highest pitch down to your lowest comfortable pitch. Give it a try. Between F3 and A3. Okay, pretty promising. Very good. Okay, do you know if you can hold your voice down here? Like, hello.
Hello.
Yeah,
Pretty
beautiful.
much.
Awesome. Yeah, pretty much. Like, you might start a sentence higher. Pretty, like D4, pretty much. But you do end up lower, so that's good. Okay, nice. All right, now the next step is to get your vocal tract to be a lot bigger. To do this, we like to use some exercises such as whisper scales or whisper siren. Why? Because whispers do not require the vocal folds to vibrate. And because that is the case, well, when you hear a whisper, you only hear how big or how small the vocal tract size is. So if you have a really bright whisper, it's most likely a small size. But if you have a really dark whisper, it's most likely a big size. Right? So we're going to try to say the sentence, pat that cat on a whisper. Let's start really bright, or wherever your voice generally starts at. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Beautiful. Now let's pat and make pat bigger. So pat, 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 pat that cat. Pat, 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 pat that cat. Okay, pat that cat. Okay. Very good. So we're here. Pat that cat. Can you keep talking with it? Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Careful here. Pat that cat. Good. Good morning. Okay. That one went darker. Very good. Nice. So as you might have noticed, sometimes if you're not used to making the vocal tract size bigger, you might feel like, hello, good morning. It shoots back up to a smaller size, especially if that smaller size is where your voice is habitualized at, right? Where your voice generally tends to go to, because there's kind of like a norm that your voice or your brain has accepted in terms of muscle memory, right? So let's just see how far we can take this. Let's take some other sentences. Perfect. Okay. Has it loaded for you? Yes? Okay, so let's take a look at this. That cat. Okay, now this time I want you to say the sentence that mad brat. Just the 3 first words. So, that mad brat. Starting really bright and small.
That mad brat.
Very good. And now we make the that really dark from that mad brat down to that
into that mad brat.
Give it a try.
That mad brat.
That mad brat.
Very good. Now you might hear it, that mad brat.
That mad brat.
You might hear it to be darker. But on top of that, you can also add some perception thanks to the hand on your neck. Just put it gently on your neck. Don't press down. Just feel for the bump on your neck. It might be more or less prominent. I know in some cases it's really hard to find. But just try to do a really bright pat, 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 pat. And then shoot right back to a really dark pat.
Pat, pat, pat.
And feel how it moves on your neck. Give it a try.
So start normally.
Yeah, just take your hand just like that, all open and flat on your neck. Pat, 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 pat. Try it out.
Pat, 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 pat. I feel like I can't really get it lower with whisper.
With the whisper? Well, oh. It's okay, let's take the time. So you can get lower the whisper. Of course, if this is all new to you, you might not get a whole lot of emotion on this, right? It's just a starting point. But again, maybe you just don't exactly know where to look for, right? I have had a lot of testosterone exposed to my voice, and thus my Adam's apple is quite prominent. You can visibly see it. So it's much easier for me to track than for you. So perhaps with time, you will get better at finding it and finding out about it. What's more important is regardless of knowing where it is, you can hear the difference. That's mad brat.
That mad brat.
Even if it's not
that mad brat.
Extremely dark and extremely low, right? You can already hear that. There's quite a difference in our whisper. Now the next step is once you achieve a really dark whisper, that. You want to close the vocal folds back in because right now in the whisper they're not vibrating. So we want to close the vocal folds back in.
That mad brat.
Try to give that a try.
All right. Mad brat.
Yeah, very good.
That mad brat.
Okay. Now compare it to a brighter whisper. You might have something like that mad brat. Try it out. Exactly what you just did, but you started a brighter whisper, right? So this time you did that mad brat. So you actually did it dark, and now I want you to feel I want you to feel and hear how the sound changes if you choose different brightnesses. Choose a really bright that mad brat. Sounds really femme. That mad brat. Now choose a darker size.
That mad brat.
Mind you, this is exactly the same pitch in both cases. Just how I filter the sound out changes completely with the perception of it. And I want you to feel the difference for yourself. So give it a try. Try to really bright that. Oh, it's okay. Okay, you made it darker. Very good. And then you close the vocal folds. Very good.
Mad brat.
That mad brat. Oh, careful here. You did that mad brat. So it went a bit brighter at the end, right? That mad brat, right? So this is where you want to like be really careful not to let it shoot back up, or like to like shoot back up in terms of like how your larynx would move up. So yeah, this is like a bunch of trial and error. There's like not really at the start of voice training. There's a lot of poking around, trying out trying a few different things. Like really getting your voice to explore as many different areas as possible. So even if it might sound counterintuitive, doing like hyper femme voices will kind of teach you more about your resonance and about your voice than you think initially, right? For example, like
my masc voice never sounded like that, right? It maybe like was here when I started, right? So
even if I wanted to feminize my voice by learning how
to make my voice even darker than before,
I learned more control of my larynx and its height, of my vocal tract size and how big or how small it became, right? So what I would recommend in your case is to just start poking around with that, trying to like go for like bright whispers, bridging it. Pat that cat that's really small and bright, right? And so, pat that cat, how you would do in a femme voice, for example, right? Can you say just pat that cat for me? Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Right. And now you just whisper that pat that cat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Beautiful. Now you notice it's really bright. Pat that cat. And now if you do this, pat, 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 pat that cat. Pat, 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 pat. Good. Nice. Now you notice the difference. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. And now we're going to do the same bridging on the darker pat that cat. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. Try it out.
Pat that cat.
Okay.
I feel like that
Pat
didn't
that
reshoot
cat.
anything.
Sorry, what'd you say?
I feel like that didn't help.
It kind of went there, like, pat that cat, right? So you went from, like, pat that cat to pat that cat. It's a noticeable change, right? Maybe you'll hear it better if you, like, take some recordings of your voice with, like, voice apps or just on your PC. If you have, like, Audacity, you can install that and listen back to your voice when you record it. So, yeah, a lot of this is going to be about, trial and error, finding out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And of course, reaching like a darker sound by using the whisper as a way to explore. For now, you might not feel like it changes a lot, but you really did change your voice from like pat that cat to a pat that cat. And whilst that's not completely on your goal, it's a step in the right direction. And the more steps you make, the easier it is to take that staircase. And the more often you take it, the easier it is to get back down there. Right? All right. Well, I wish you the best of luck with your vocal practice. Please, everyone, give a big round of applause to Vampire Muse. All right, best of luck.
Excellent.
Okay, so next up on stage, and that will be the last person today, I am afraid it will be someone who wants to feminize their voices. All right, so I've seen you. You wanted to go in the center before. All right, Rexy Ronan. Come up on stage. Come on, come on. Give a big round of applause to Rexy Ronan. All right. Oh, you can be on any side you want. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
All right. We are starting now. How could I not notice this goblin green? All right. So, very good. So let's see. Welcome up on stage. Is this the first time you're in one of those workshops, or have you already been here before?
First time.
Familiar with the terminology ever since I started this lesson, or do you want me to clarify a few things first?
Clarify, please.
All right, very simply put, we might start, because of testosterone exposure, like
at much lower voices. First of all,
as I showed you in this slide at the start. Please load for me. Oh, it hasn't loaded for me, of course. Okay, here we go. So as I made it apparent in this slide, our voice functions very simply. We push air through the larynx, and in the larynx you'll find vocal folds. You might have heard them be called vocal cords, right? Those produce a sound, and that will generally be referred to as pitch. So
a low pitch,
a high pitch, for example. And that's the speed of vibration of the vocal folds. But that's not everything, right? Because I can do the same pitch and sound either masculine or feminine. Ashes to ashes. Ow. Ashes to ashes. Right? The second one sounding much more masculine, much more darker. And that will be happening all in here at the level of the filter, right? So how big or how small that space is. So I dare suppose that you, like me, have been affected by
testosterone, right?
3 things have happened due to testosterone. Your larynx, so your Adam's apple, you can use your hand in real life and put it gently on your neck. You can feel a bump on your neck, correct?
Yes.
Right. So as you can see, this is like a tube that goes from your like trachea up to like the lower level of the back of your mouth. And so that larynx can quite literally move up or down. Actually, you make it move all the time. When you speak, it moves a little bit. And when you swallow, it will like move up and then back down. Although I would never like advise someone to use a swallow to explore their voices. Just, to be made aware that it can translate up or down, right? Now, the way you achieve a fem voice is by making that larynx go higher up, right? And to do this, we like to use sound-based exercises. In this case, whisper exercises, because the whispers do not cause the vocal folds to vibrate. So instead of hearing da 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 da, you can hear something like da 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 da. For example, right? You could even redo entire melodies just with the resonance by moving how high or how low your Adam's apple is, by making the size smaller or much bigger, right? So let's try this together. Can you give me a very gentle whisper on hello? Something like hello.
Oh.
Let's try it again.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. Now I want you to try to say the sentence, pat that cat, on a whisper. Pat that cat.
Give it.
Very good. So now you did it like this. Pat that cat. Now it's not super dark like pat that cat. But it's not super bright like pat that cat. So already your resonance, your vocal tract size is kind of like in the middle range. Our goal will be to make that pat smaller and brighter, kind of as if it moved higher in pitch. It doesn't really move up in pitch, but the perception is similar. Let's try this. Let's go from a dark pat, pat that cat, to a bright pat, 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 pat. Give it a try. Okay, very good. Although this time you shot up really fast, like pat, pat, pat. And I think I maybe heard your voice get squeezed a bit, like pat, pat, pat. So you want to avoid going too far, because then you're cutting the passageway to your lungs, and then there's no breathing or voice production happening, right? So really take your time. Don't shoot up extremely quickly, but take the time, step by step. Good. Much better. And here, like, the steps at the end, I think you could have, like, stopped a little bit earlier, because it sounded like you were starting to close too much. So you actually are going much higher, much faster than you would expect. So you're doing this really well. Very good. Now, our goal will be to do the following. We want to close the vocal folds. And why do we want to do this? We want to do so because we want our voices to achieve, well, a normal phonation. This is a little picture of the vocal fold. Let me take a different color to better show them. All right. So the vocal folds, as I said before, are these little white flaps, and they can open or close like sometimes a few hundreds of times per second. Okay? In the case of fem voice, we don't really care about the speed. Well, the speed is the pitch of your voice. The faster the speed, the higher of a pitch you have, the
slower the speed, the lower of a pitch you have.
Right? Now, you might have recognized that we were using whispers, correct? Pat that cat.
Yeah.
But when I'm speaking, I say, pat that cat. I'm letting the vocal folds vibrate, open and close. In the case of a whisper, they only do this. They don't go back and forth between those two states. So we want to close the vocal folds so that they start to vibrate whilst we listen for the whisper. So it can sound something like this. Pat that cat. Pat that cat. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Now, I could have started with a darker whisper, for example,
pat that cat,
and would have sounded completely different.
Pat that cat.
Really masculine, or rather, really dark, really big in size. Okay? So our goal will be to close the vocal folds from a brighter, smaller whisper towards a bright, breathy sound, towards a bright, balanced, or a bright, normal voice, if you will. So let's give this a try. Let's do kind of call and response. I do a sound, you answer with the same sound, to the best of your abilities. Sounds good?
Yeah.
Let's try this. Let's go dark.
Darth Vader dark. Pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
Beautiful.
Pat.
Pats. Easy whisper.
Pat.
Too much. That's too much. It's too closed. It should sound very open. Very good. One step right below that one. Okay, very good. Can you say pat that cats? Beautiful. And now you want to hold that ah sound. So yes. And then say pat that cat.
Pat that cat.
There you go. And that's a fem voice. Good job. Now, that's part of the fem voice. It's like a snippet of your voice being a fem voice. But let's try to use it in the context of a sentence so we can make it sound more normal and normalize it. So this time, same scenario. Instead of saying that, the pat that cat, we're going to say that mad brat. Call and response. Mimic after me. That's mad brats. Good. And then we do this. That mad brat sat on that flat mat.
That mad brat sat on that mat flat.
Okay, very good. Sorry for the words. They kind of that mat flat. Okay. That mad brat sat on the flat mat. It maybe dropped a little bit in resonance. Your Adam's apple might have dropped a little bit. You could also use your fingers on your neck to feel if it trails down. Something you can listen for is the following. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. Not exactly what happened with your voice. It was a little bit smaller of a change. That mad brat sat on that flat mat. It was more subtle, right? But it still started to happen. A big thing you want to be watching out for is the gravity of behavior. You and I were tuned to the muscle memory, to the behavior our voices are used to. To me, this is a voice I've used for 5 years now, almost. And so this is my go-to voice. I don't spontaneously go
to a masculine voice.
I have to think about it. For now, it's the opposite for you. You can achieve femme voice, but, every time your body's like, wait, but I know that
the normal voice we do is like lower, like here.
For example, right? So your goal will be to reinforce that behavior, repeat it until it gets easier. Now, another thing I have to say is your voice maybe sounded a little bit strained. It wasn't like that mad brat sat. It was a bit more like that mad brat sat. It was like slightly stiff in a way. And I think that comes down to how you brighten your voice. Remember what I said, when you do the steps with resonance, pat, 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 you want the whisper to be really free, really easy to do. If you do pat, pat, cat, instead of pat, pat, cat, then you put yourself at the risk of, clenching too many muscles, and thus this can impact how well your vocal folds can close or open. In your case, they struggled a little bit, and this is why you have a bit of a stiffer sound. So be sure to take the time to explore the whisper. Don't shoot up directly, something really closed, but rather take the time. Always ask yourself, could I speak with that whisper for hours on end? Or would I just die in a few seconds? Chances are, a whisper like this would make your voice really dry really quickly, right? So it should feel really easy. It should come very naturally. Again, given the amplitude you've given me, a lot of the things you're going to want to work on is getting granularity. It's easy to see, 1 and 0, but it's harder to see 0.36 or 0.7979 or any precise number in between two gradients, right? For the inexperienced mind, or not inexperienced mind, but the inexperienced voice user, there's a femme voice
and there is a masc voice.
But I would say
there is a masc voice, there is a masc voice,
there's a masc voice, there is a femme voice, there's a femme voice, there's a femme voice. There's a lot of variation in between those two, extremes, right? You have to slowly find those extremes and, get small landmarks, more precise. Record your voice and listen back to it, create a positive feedback loop. And yeah, other than that was a really encouraging start. That mat's on a flat mat. Try to really go for a gentle, soft whisper, and you'll be able to get a femme voice consistently in no time. All right, Rixiranen, I hope that helped you out. Very good job on stage today. All right.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, go ahead.
What if I wanted to get to a voice, but I also wanted to add a bit of an accent, like the New York kind of accent?
So doing accent stuff that's more like voice acting, what I would recommend you do is you find the accent that you want to practice. Given you're a goblin, I suppose it's for D&D perhaps. I mean, I like to roleplay myself, so I understand where you're coming from. But anyways, regardless of the reason, when it comes to accents, it's you have to break down how people say certain things. For example, I have a perfect sentence here. You can say, the crowbar opened the subpar car. That's how an American would say it. But a British person might say the crowbar opened the subpar car. See, I dropped the R at the end of subpar and at the end of car, or at the end of crowbar. Actually, I didn't say crowbar, I said crowbar. Then it depends on if you are doing Australian, you might say the crowbar opened the subpar car. I don't know, depends. There's a bunch of different accents. The best thing you can do is think what vowels change when people do certain voices. I would also recommend that you maybe look online, some linguistics and some voice acting teachers already have done breakdowns of different accents, and then you start to understand. For example, I think it's in boat. So Americans might say, snow flamingos eat kilos of tomato risotto. Whereas British people might say more like snow flamingos, 8 kilos of tomato risotto, like a much more open O sound. So when it comes to accents, ask yourself the question, what sounds different to my own voice? And then how can I apply these different things? But yeah, that's a big question. The short answer is break down their voices down to their components, like how they change the pronunciation of certain sounds and of certain vowel sounds. And yeah, that's what I would recommend. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Everyone, give a big round of applause to Rexy Ronan. Okay, well then, I think we are about done for today. So, many crashes. What a day to start Pride Month. Phew, at least we seen it through. So, 1B, please tell me, do we have any questions from the Discord? All right. So you can use the whisper siren or the whisper scales as we have been doing with Rexy. So like I like to use a sentence that has a lot of ah sounds because the ah sound has your tongue in a neutral low position. And so it really requires for modulation, you still hear the ah sound even down to the whisper. Having the ah sound helps us like just keep a stable resonance. We didn't go as far with Rexy because of lack of time, but I have a bunch of different vowels, ah as in bad, ah as in crowbar, o as in store, oo as in taboo, right? And all of these different vowels require a different lip shape, whether it's a round or spread like in a smile-ish, not exactly. Or if your larynx is high or low, because yes, certain vowels require the Adam's apple to be a bit lower. For example, the oo sound can't have the oo sound or the e sound generally tend to make most of their brightness through making the mouth space smaller. So yeah, I do have a Discord. I will get to that later, Rexy. So stick around. So yes, 1B, when it comes to exercises, choose a word, especially choose words in which you struggle with, right? So you might find that, maybe you struggle on oo sounds more than other things. Yes, you can take a picture of the board. You can do something like, the new you is no taboo. And you're like, oh yeah, my oo sounds really, really dark. So you can practice on a whisper. New, for example. Or choose different sounds, not just vowel sounds. There's also consonant sounds. For example, the N sound, it's a consonant. You've been taught it's a consonant, but technically your vocal folds vibrate when you use it. It's just that it passes through the nose, right? So these are also things that you want to practice. Imagine if you didn't practice the N sound, you could sound like the you is no taboo. See how dark the N sound is? So even that can be brightened. So really break down every sentence to small, manageable sounds, right? And once you have broken down these sounds, you can then explore which vowel sounds or consonant sounds you can brighten and then slowly work at it. So we have practiced the ah sound on pat, that, cat for most of those sessions because of the vowel neutrality and how it really makes you work on raising the Adam's apple, on raising the larynx. But there's a bunch of other sounds, such as on this board. So yeah, I would recommend to use that whisper exercise. Do it on as many different vowels as possible, even as in as in the word pet. Or I don't know, there's too many words and too many sounds to cover right now. You can also practice using your full voice. You don't have to use whispers all the time, right? Whispers is a good way to really find the brightest sound or the darkest sound you can find. But but you can also do this whilst phonating. So for example, instead of saying that mad brat, you can start with a dark high pitch, like, oh, like an opera singing voice, that mad brat. And then take the word brat and brighten it whilst you let the vocal folds vibrate. Brat, 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 that mad brat. So working with phonation is also a thing you can do. It is a bit more difficult in certain case scenarios, especially if you haven't fully separated resonance from pitch. So I would say it's a more advanced exercise, but if you can move to it and it works for you, then do it. It's great. Okay, I hope that answers the question. That was a lengthy answer. I'm sorry. 1B, do we have other questions? Okay, so overdoing, first of all, different directions will tend to do different mistakes. For example, I would say there's generally no overdoing, but you can overdo tension in your voice, right? We are playing with a bunch of muscles, the muscles of the vocal folds, how fast they vibrate, how heavy and thick they are. We can play with the muscles that allow us to raise our larynx or to drop our larynx, right? In the case of our work with the last person on stage, we achieved like Pat That Cat really bright, but we actually went a little bit too far, the point where the voice was a bit squeezed, and when you close the vocal fold again, that mad brat kind of sustains a bit of that stiffness. Of course, that will show up differently in people's voices. Not necessarily how I do it, because I tend to do extremes so people can hear them better. The reality is that those changes are much more minute than you think they are. At the end of the day, always ask yourself, like, does my voice feel strained? Does it feel like, you know, like it's a cartoon character, for example? Like, does it feel like it's out of normal, quote unquote, ranges? And, you know, if you ask yourself these questions, then you can like start to give it an answer. For example, I suppose overdoing, it's a huge topic, right? But what I would say is straining is a thing that most people overdo, right? We tend to go brute force at the voice, when in reality, we just really want to gently accompany it, right? I know a lot of us are trying to speed run to a femme voice or to a masc voice, but time is of the essence. Quite literally, you will get nowhere if you like jump and boost directly and try to like move past the barrier, especially when it comes to higher pitches. Like if you bring your pitch too high without paying attention to the warning signs, like your voice breaking or your voice being really breathy, for example, or your voice failing at high pitches, then if you're not listening to like these warning signs, you put yourself at risk of hurting your voice on the long term, potentially. Well, short term, and then on the long term if you keep ignoring those signs. So yeah, this is what I would say is dangerous in overtraining the voice. The rest is just, you know, you're going to do a funny cartoon voice, and that's it. It's not really that hurtful. So just never over tense your voice unless you're doing harsh metal vocals, but I don't teach that, so see that with a metal vocalist for better advice. Anyways, yeah, I hope that answers your question. Other questions, 1B? Okay. Okay, so depends. Would you say that you are generally, I see you're in the audience, so you can just always answer with like motions of your head or whatever, or speak up, if you feel comfortable, of course. Would you say that you're someone who uses their voices a lot in day-to-day life, or would you say that you, like on a scale of 0 being I never use my voice ever, to 10 I use my voice way too much, it's way too much, people tell me to shut up all the time? Where on that scale are you? Between a 0 to a 10?
Probably closer to.
Sorry, can you speak up?
Probably closer to a 10. I work at a school and I have to yell.
Please come closer. Sorry, it's because the stage will make your voice be louder. Don't be scared. Yeah. Right.
Great. So I work as a teacher at a school.
Yes.
Elementary school to be exact. And kids are loud, and I have to make myself heard with them. I would say that I'm probably closer to a 10 on your scale.
Okay, so I already had a teacher as a student. Loved working with her, by the way. She was great. Yeah, she was having similar issues where her voice would be very tired all the time. People don't realize it, but teachers don't have it easy at all, especially in a classroom with really loud kids. When you have to speak over them, it just means that you will have to give out more of your voice. Unfortunately, that is, a problem that can't really be fixed. When it comes to this, it's almost to the point where if you use your voice all day long at work, when you come at home, you basically should not be talking anymore, depending on how much you use it, especially if it's 10, then voice rest is even more important to you than it is to me. It is to me because I teach several hours of lessons per day. And so when the night comes, I'm just basically not speaking as much anymore. Like, I will consciously make my voice a lot softer. I will not push my voice as much because I know it's like a resource that is limited throughout the day. That's true if you're a teacher, if you're a streamer, if you are someone who speaks a lot as a content creator, perhaps. I don't know. Some of you might be feeling like that in a similar way. Now, vocal stamina can be increased over time. You can work on maybe trying to increase the stamina. You can make things that would improve your vocal hygiene. When it comes to yelling is never a good idea, generally speaking. There is safe ways to yell, although those can include the false vocal folds, and they include a very precise control of them, right? Saying "hey" is a very uncontrolled yell versus a "hey." That's a lot more controlled and a lot louder, right? You're gonna want to use increased vocal fold mass and be heard over it. But if you do it wrong, you can very quickly dip into a voice that will break and that will not be heard. So I'm so sorry that you got to yell over kids, but yelling over them is not going to be the solution in terms of I feel like you're trying to fix a problem that's caused by another problem, in a sense. And I have no authority over how you live your life and how you do it. So the only advice I can give is rest your voice plenty when the day is over. I don't know if you smoke or if you drink, but if you do any of those, you can try considering stopping. I know it's very hard. I've been a smoker for years, so I won't blame it if you struggle with that. What else is there? Avoiding dairy products. I guess wearing a mask when in a polluted town, which is kind of which is what most people tend to live through. Yeah, it's a problem that I can't answer on the spot because it's more everyone has a different kind of problem regarding this. The person I was working with was also a singer on top of being a teacher at school, so she had double the load. So perhaps for you there is a possibility to find more strength in your voice. What I would say is practice achieving more strength in your own time. Slowly push your voice louder, but it should always feel easy to do. If it starts to hurt or tickle or itch in any way, shape or form, then you're doing it wrong and you should start again from a more gentle sound. So yeah, I'm sorry for that really long and destructured answer, but without more details, it's a bit hard for me to judge. So I hope that this advice helps you out. And yeah, if you want to give me more elements, you can always like shoot me a message in Discord. I'd be happy to try and help you figure out some stuff with it. Okay. All right.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, Wannabe, are we done with questions? Okay, I'll answer the last one, and then we will be done for today. Fortunately, the control of voice is very linked to like your psychology. Things like, you know, being angry, being sad, being anxious, having any emotion will impact your voice, right? If I'm angry, you'll hear my teeth, you'll hear that my voice gets a lot thicker. Even in a thin voice, you will hear it. If I'm like really sad, my voice will like tend to break a lot and like go a lot softer, go a lot to higher pitches, and like be brighter, and like my throat will kind of like be clenched and closed. In the case of anxiousness, you know, like it can go anywhere to like, you know, like you're stuttering on your words, or like you might like stop on your breath, or, you know, like there's a lot of things that can happen to you. But when it comes to, I suppose, holding a femme voice, because you talked about the resonance dropping, so I suppose it's femme voice, you know, your body will be like defense mechanism. Go back to the safe voice, the voice that works well. And that will be, unfortunately, the masc voice for those who get started with the voice training. I have a similar thing where if I'm with family and it's not specifically anxiousness, I'm fairly out of them. I'm extremely lucky to have accepting family. But with my family, even, I will find that my own voice will tend to drop a little bit to something like a bit lower, like here, for example. And it's not a conscious thing I do. It's just something that happens because when I see my family, I'm reminded of the several years I spent living with them as a masculine presenting person. And you in public, you might feel, and it's subconscious, of course, the anxiety might take over. So what I would say is expose yourself to like it's a kind of like exposure therapy thing, right? Expose yourself more and more to anxiety inducing environments when using your fan voice, but do it in a controlled way. Online, it's easy. I can just put my headset away and walk away, and it's fine. If you are on a game on Discord talking to people, you can always mute yourself or leave the call or block them or whatever. You have more power online than you do in real life. And so I would definitely say that in that regard, you can like train yourself to become more and more comfortable in those like public and slightly anxiety-inducing situations. For you, it's with customers. Perhaps using your voice with family or friends in real life is also another trigger. Unfortunately, there's like no easy answer to this. But yeah, other than exposure theory, this is almost more like a psychological advice that I'm giving you, not so much a voice training advice, but at the same time, voice and psychology and your brain are super intricate and like work together a lot. So yeah, this is my grain of salt, my own experience with this, and my small knowledge on psychology regarding this. So yeah, try to find controlled spaces in which you can get more comfortable with that voice. Use it plenty to the point where it just becomes natural. And yeah, if you're in front of customers, then work generally will come first. So that is hard to say how it would go. But yeah, I can only wish you luck, and I would recommend for you to like find those controlled spaces. All right, I hope that answer helps you out. And I hope everything goes well with maintaining your voice up to where you want it to be in day-to-day life. Okay. Well then, I believe we're done here. We're like, oh God, 45 minutes late. I'm so sorry, 1B. I think like it's 30 degrees Celsius in my room, so I don't know how hot that is, but my computer thinks it's like 1,000 billion degrees. So my room feels like I'm in the core of the sun right now. So I have to cut it short here. But yeah, I'll just do the end of the workshop vulnerable. So we don't have to say bye to Twitch because Twitch is not online today. But hi everyone. My name is Savvy. I teach voice feminization as well as
Voice masculinization.
I also teach stuff such as voice acting, singing, and human beatboxing with sounds such as. So if you want to learn any of this, you know, you can always like shoot me a message down in Discord. You can find me at savvy_sav. So all in small letters, just like my name, but just all small letters. You can also click on my bio directly in vrchat to join my Discord server called Scientifically Augmented Voice. I have a little community of students and of other people who like to practice their femme voices, so you're more than welcome to join it. Send some clips of your voice for feedback. My community is more than helpful in that regard. And other than that, I also teach public lessons over there. So if you want to learn some more for free, you can always like jump into one of the calls. They're Discord only, so like no VR chat, but you can jump in one of those calls and learn alongside everyone. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this session. Thank you all for coming today, and I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Pride Month. Yes, of course you can pay me. No worries. All right, y'all have a great one. Have a good one. Bye-bye. All right, happy Pride Month, everyone. Bye.